Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Today's lesson, inshallah, will be about the conditions of prayer and the integrals of prayer. And before we discuss the conditions of prayer and the integrals of prayer, let's now say what is the difference between the conditions and the integrals. So, the conditions of the prayer is that defined by the prayer will not be valid without these conditions. But these conditions are not within the act of the prayer. For example, wudu. If you don't have wudu, your prayer is not valid. But wudu is not inside the prayer task or the prayer as an act of worship. As an integral, for example, if someone didn't recite Al-Fatiha properly, the prayer would be not valid. But the Fatiha is within the act of worship of the prayer. So this is the difference. Always when you want to remember the difference between conditions and integral is that the integrals is outside of the prayer, while the integrals is inside within the prayer. This is the difference between conditions and integrals. The conditions for a prayer are 8. So the conditions are: number 1, purity from 2 states of ritual impurity and major and minor. So he should be on full purity, what we call it in Arabic. So if anything comes from his inlet, this means that his wudu is not valid. So this is, we call it like the minor impurity. Now the major impurity, if someone, let's say, have an intercourse with his wife, so this means now he's now with the major impurity. So he should make ghusl, then the wudu, then he should pray. So this is now when we say purity from the 2 states, from the minor impurity and from the major. Number 2, the purity from the unexcused physical filthy najas. For example, if someone want to pray and on his clothes there are some kind of najas, or in his body, the prayer is not valid. Number 3, one of the condition of the prayer is facing al-qibla. So he should make sure he must face his face to al-qibla. This is the 3rd condition. 4th condition is knowing about the setting of the prayer time. For example, if someone pray, let's say al-dhuhr, and then he said by guessing, I prayed al-dhuhr last hour, so I can pray now al-asr. No, this prayer is not valid. He must be certain about the setting of the prayer time. There are 5 prayer times. He must know certainly the setting of the time before making the salat. Otherwise, the prayer would not be valid. Number 5, knowing about its obligation. For example, a man, if he want to pray the 5 prayer, he must believe that these 5 prayers are obligatory. He must not believe that 4 of them are obligatory and 1 of them are optional. No, the 5 of them are obligatory. Salat al-Subh, al-Dhuhr, al-Asr, al-Maghrib, al-Isha. Number 6, the one does not believe that one of the obligatory part as one of its integral must not think that this is an optional. For example, the prostration is an obligatory. So one must not believe that the prostration is sunnah, not obligatory. If he think that any one of the integrals of the salat is optional, not obligatory, his prayer will not be valid. He must believe the obligatory part, which are the integrals of salat, of prayer. He must believe that these are obligatory, not optional. Number 7, refrain from the invalidators. So all the invalidators of prayer, he should refrain from them. For example, he must not speak while he is praying. And any kind of invalidator. For example, if he was on the prayer time, he was on the second rak'ah, for example, and he passed wind. So this means his prayer is not valid anymore. So some people, when they were in the second rak'ah or third rak'ah while praying, if he passed wind from one of his inlet, he do something like this. He say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is not accurate. This is not true. As long as he break his praying by passing wind while he's in pray, his prayer is not valid. He should leave immediately and go to the wudu and make wudu again. So he should not do like this, Assalamu alaikum, because his prayer is not valid anymore. So some people, they said that they might think that he should say Assalamu alaikum. No, he shouldn't say this. As long as the wudu was invalid while he's praying, immediately he leaves salat and go and make another wudu. Number 8, concealing the awrah, which means for a man, he must know that he should cover all between the navel and the knee for the man, and for the woman, all her body is awrah except her face from here to here and her hand from here. So as for the woman, she must cover all her body except her face and her hand. And as for the man, he must cover what is in between his navel and knee. So these are the 8 conditions for the prayer. Now let's talk about the integrals of prayer now. The integrals of prayer are 17. Number 1, the intention, which means that a man or a person must have the intention in his heart while he's saying Allahu Akbar. For example, if someone wants to pray al-Dhuhr, while he's saying Allahu Akbar, he must set the intention in his heart that now he's want to pray al-Dhuhr or al-Asr or al-Maghrib. So this is the intention. It's time while he's saying Allahu Akbar. Number 2 of the integral is at-takbir, which is mentioning Allahu Akbar. So the first one is intention, the second one is uttering Allahu Akbar. Number 3, standing for the obligation. For example, a person must stand while he is performing salat. He must stand. He should not be on the chair or in the bed, unless there are a valid excuse, because there are sometimes a person might be on the wheelchair, a person might be laying on the bed, he's sick, he might be in the hospital, or he might be at home, but having some certain of excuses, he cannot stand up, so he can make the prayer while he's sitting. It's according to his conditions. Not just like he was feeling tired, he can't stand up, he want to have rest. No, not like this. It's a matter of like he has a severe condition that he cannot pray while he's standing up, because he might get harm because of his injury or any sickness excuses. Number 3, reciting Al-Fatiha. And this is very important. Not only reciting Al-Fatiha, as some people, they don't know the correct pronunciation. He must or she must say Al-Fatiha with the correct pronunciation, with every single letter. starting from Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. For example, there is kasra on the lafz al-jalala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So people when they said ولا الضالين, this is mad. It should be minimum 4 haraka, which is he say ولا الضالين or 4 or 6. It's okay if he say 4 or 6, but he cannot say ولا الضالين. Some people, they're in a hurry, they want to recite the Fatiha and go quickly to their job or doing something else. I witnessed some people that when they are saying Al-Fatiha, they start, why they are saying, they do like this. So the Fatiha is not valid. When the Fatiha is not valid, means the prayer is not valid. So there should be a correct pronunciation of every single letter. For example, you say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. There is a difference between صاد and سين. صراط المستقيم. Seen like this, you say seen, and صاد like this, sa. Now, the 5 integral, which is الركوع. And you know how it will be someone like bowing, means الركوع. And the 6 is settling in that position, which is طمأنينة in ركوع. طمأنينة means in English tranquility. When he's in ركوع, he should stand with the settling in this position with a duration of a minimum when you say Subhanallah. So if you say Subhanallah, how many seconds would it take from you? Subhanallah. For example, these 4 seconds or 5 seconds, you should say in ruku'. This is the minimum. Why? The optional is to say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Three times. This is the optional. But the minimum, it should have tranquility for the minimum duration of Subhanallah. So the reason I'm explaining this, because what is meant by saying being motionless and settling in the separation of the two movements. Because when you are standing up and you want to go into ruku', you don't do like this up and then like this and then like this. It should be when we make ruku', you should stay with the settle, with the tranquility, and make sure that it would be minimum of Subhanallah. Now it is better to say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim 3 times. This is even better. But we are saying that because some people, they do like this and then they stand up immediately. The prayer is not valid. Now, number 7, the standing up from bowing, which is, you call it i'tidal. After you ruku', you make i'tidal. You're saying stand up from bowing. Then settling in this position, when you stand up again, you make also a motionless, like tranquility. Then prostrating twice. When you go to the sujood, you make it twice. And of course, when you're in sujood, you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la 3 times. And in sujood, on the 7 bones, on the 7 bones, which means the forehead, this is one, your forehead on the floor, 2, 3, and 2 knees, 4, 5, and then the inner part of the toes. So if you count them each one, it will make on the 7 bones. Then settling in that position, which is the tranquility again, you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la 3 times. Now the meaning of Subhana Rabbi al-A'la is you are glorifying Allah for the status of Allah. Because in Arabic language, when you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, doesn't mean that Allah by is Ali by distance. It's by the status of Allah or Almighty, the exalted. So when you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, as if you are saying Subhanallah, the exalted. So sitting in between these two prostration, this is the 11th integrals. When you make prostration, then you sitting in between. This is the 11th down to 12. Sitting in these, the tranquility in these two position between prostration and setting in between. And the 13th one is setting for the last at-tashahhud. Now we are going to explain what is at-tashahhud when you say at-tahiyyat al-mubarakat. So the last tashahhud is on the 4th rak'ah. Now you say it optional on the 2nd rak'ah, and then you say it obligatory on the 4th rak'ah. You say it at-tahiyyat al-mubarakat as-salawat al-tayyibat lillah assalamu alayka ayyuha nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi as-salihin ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Now when you want to continue more till the end, اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Then you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So Assalam is the 16th integrals. Now we finish the 16. What is the 17? Number 17 is the order and the sequences of these, as we mentioned, one by one. So for example, one cannot stay from Atidal when he finished Al-Fatiha, go immediately to prostration. Because if you go immediately to prostration, he missed what? Al-Ruku'. So in order the prayer to be valid, all these 16 mentioned, it has to be by order. That's why the scholar consensus said that the integrals of prayer are 17, because 17 is the sequence, is one of the integral as well. The sequence is the order of these. Must be as mentioned one by one. So if anyone intentionally leave one integral to make the other one, if he did it intentionally, he must repeat his prayer time. But for example, if he was on the standing when he finished Al-Fatiha, he went to the prostration, to as-sujood, and then he remembered he didn't make ruku', he should stand up and make ruku' and then continue his salat. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'lam wa ahkam. And Allah knows best. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات